A man is behind bars after he stabbed and critically injured another man during an argument. At around 9:20 a.m. on Saturday the 27th of April, authorities responded to Lake County Hospital in Illinois after a 24-year-old man was brought into the emergency room in a critical condition. The victim had been in the car with 23-year-old Anthony Osmina. The two men started arguing while the driver of the car pulled over to drop Anthony off at his home in the 17,800 block of West Big Oaks Road in Gages Lake, Illinois. Both men got out and continued fighting. Anthony then pulled out a knife and slashed the victim's stomach open. The wound was so severe that part of the victim's intestinal tract fell out of the slash wound. It's unclear what the argument was about. The driver of the car immediately drove the victim to the hospital. Anthony was arrested at his home and charged with 3 counts of aggravated battery and unlawful use of a weapon. He remains held at the Lake County Jail. The victim remains hospitalized, though his condition is improving after surgery. The investigation into the matter continues. On Wednesday the 24th of April 2024, 41-year-old Quinton Jenkins was sentenced to 23 years in prison for sexually assaulting an 11-year-old boy he was supposed to take to a birthday party in Joliet, Illinois in 2018. In March of 2024, Quinton pleaded guilty to a felony charge of predatory criminal sexual assault of a child. After learning of his sentence, Quinton told Will County Judge Dave Carlson that he had been a piece of shit and that several members of his own family no longer wanted to have anything to do with him because of his crimes. Quinton told the courtroom that he was extremely sorry for his crimes and for what he had done. He promised to become a changed person after serving his time in prison. On the afternoon of the 1st of December 2018, the victim's mother was unable to take her 11-year-old son to a birthday party in Joliet, Illinois, and Quinton, whom she knew through her boyfriend, offered to take him for her. Instead of taking him to the party, Quinton drove the boy to his residence in the 300 block of Morris Street, Joliet, where he sexually abused him. At around 6:30 p.m. that night, the boy called his mother and told him that Quinton had molested him, and she then contacted authorities. Later that night, detectives traced Quinton to his home and he was arrested. The boy was transported to Present St. Joseph Medical Center. Will County State's Attorney Jim Glasgow said, "What should have been a fun afternoon at a birthday party turned into a life-altering nightmare for this young boy because of the horrific sexual assault by this serial child predator with a history of taking advantage of young children. This case demonstrates that boys as well as girls are all too often the victims of sexual abuse. Sadly, many times children keep silent about the abuse because they fully don't understand it, are afraid of the abuser, or feel ashamed about something that was in no way their fault. This boy should be commended for his courage in speaking up about the abuse," he said. Quinton will serve 85% of his sentence and has received 1,971 days of credit for time already served. He'll be required to register as a sex offender for the rest of his life, and 3 years to the rest of his life a mandatory supervised release. Quinton has previously served 10 years in prison after being convicted of sexual abuse in 2 cases involving minors in Iowa.